Wednesday, April 27, 1994, Venetian, Special News, 5:30. The twister tore through the 2-year-old Lafayette Venetian blind plant. The production area and loading dock were severely damaged. Employees were left dazed, and one co-worker, 24-year-old Ronald Solers, was killed. The breadth of the destruction became clearer with daylight. Twisted strips of metal tied up in knots like ribbon. Employees gathered at the plant entrance, mourning the loss of their co-worker and wondering what will become of their jobs. An 11-year veteran at the plant, Caroline Oliver, believes the plant will reopen.
I look for them to rebuild. I know they will. We've been in business too long not to. My dad worked here. My dad worked here for 16 years, and that was back in '73 when he quit, you know, and so this business has been going for 40-some years. They ain't going to quit now.
Company accountant Bill Steele turned hundreds of workers away from the entrance, reassuring them they will have jobs, telling them the plant will be operating again in a few days somewhere, that the business owners are deciding how to get things going again. Chris Morrissey, TV 18 News.
Sagamore Estates for the Wednesday early 4/27/94.
I'm Kelly Murphy. One of the hardest hit areas is Sagamore Village Estates. At least 10 people who live there are still unaccounted for. Resident Betty Town had a panicked escape from the trailer park when many of her neighbors' homes exploded in flames. She is fortunate her trailer is still standing.
I feel sorry for everybody that lost their trailer because I lost mine in fire 2 years ago. But I got to be thankful that I'm alive, and I'm still worried for people that lost theirs.
Emergency workers from throughout the state are helping in the search.
They're using dogs to hopefully try to pick up the scent of some of the victims that may be trapped, and then based on what they're finding with the dogs, they're doing the trailer-to-trailer search.
Personal belongings are scattered throughout the area here at Sagamore Village Estates. Some, like this child's boot, ended up quite a distance from the trailers. Many residents are frustrated that police aren't allowing them in yet to look for their belongings. Police say there is still a danger of trailers collapsing, and the scent of too many human beings could throw off the dogs. Officers are asking any residents that have not checked in with authorities to do so immediately. Kelly Murphy, TV 18 News.
It's Thursday, April 28, 1994, late Hardin's house. Mark Hardin.
On my TV, and I was laying on the couch watching TV when I heard it coming through the opening right over there. And I ran down the hallway here. My son's bedroom. This is what used to be my son's bedroom right here. And his bed was right there. And of course he was sleeping. It was like 11:45. And I grabbed him by the ankles and jerked him out of bed. When I jerked him out of bed, I opened this door right here and threw him in it. And I jumped on top of him. And about 15 seconds later, it hit. I don't know why I picked the hallway closet, but I'm glad I did. It was probably 30 seconds, and about a minute later, I thought it was safe enough to climb out of it. And when we went to climb out of it, I felt rain on my arm, and I looked at, we couldn't see each other in the closet. I told my son, I said, don't be surprised if we climb out of here and there's nothing here. And when we climbed out, there, you can see what's left of it. Yesterday, a bunch of our friends were over here. I appreciate all their help. They've been here as much as they can, and we've just been going through to see what's still here and what's not. Little things, you know, you would think would be just gone. They're still on the walls, or they're still on the refrigerator, but the rest of the house is gone. It's just little things, pictures that mean so much to you, you know, that's the first thing you go looking for. A picture of my wife's mom has been gone for a while. It's the first thing when I could get into it I went looking for. I found it. Things that were in the front room ended up in one of the far bedrooms. I had a lady pull up here yesterday. I don't know who she is. I've never met her before in my life, but I want to tell her thank you for what she did. And the lady knows who she is. She walked up to me and asked me who lived here. And I said, well, I used to. And she handed me something. And I told her it wasn't necessary, and she said she wanted to help, and this was the only way she could help. And I want to tell that lady, thank you very much. I want her to know that. The only thing I'm happy for is that me and my son are alive, and anything else can be replaced.
Friday noon recovery, 429.94.
That's the gas company. He said it'd be later this afternoon before they could probably get the gas turned on. They have the electricity on, and I was astounded they've gotten that far. You know. So this is great. Our damage is minimal compared to what everybody else has around here. I just feel so sorry for them. It's just really tragic.
Pat Node is one of a few mobile homeowners who have something to come back to. She is sympathetic to her neighbor's plight. Diane Briscoe had been staying with friends when the twister hit. Despite bruises and a neck brace, injuries from a wall landing on top of her, Briscoe is here with her friends searching.
Just things that we can possibly get, you know, that can't maybe be replaced, especially valuable things, you know, that means a lot to me. Because, you know, I had brought some stuff out here that belonged to me anyway. So, but I don't, a lot of things can't save either.
TGIF. It is Friday, April 29, 1994, early recovery.
My wedding thing? Yeah.
Diane Briscoe and her friends spent another day amid the rubble. The twister threw a wall on top of Briscoe, leaving her battered physically and emotionally. Despite her bruises, Briscoe was out searching.
Things that we can possibly get, you know, that can't maybe be replaced, especially valuable things, you know, that means a lot to me. Because, you know, I had brought some stuff out here that belonged to me anyway. A lot of things can't save either. You know, I'm going to go back to my old home where I was just living at over on Oxford Street. Landlord, you know, said I can move back in there, so I'm very lucky and very fortunate for that.
The few residents who have something to come home to are thinking about moving back in.
The house is still standing, so I'd kind of like to spend the night here and like that. Because they said they were pulling out the National Guard and we'd have to be responsible for our own belongings. We do have damage to the ceiling and that there are leaks, you know, throughout, but that's nothing compared to what's going on down the street. So.
Down the street, a board eerily pierces a mobile home wall. A hose wraps around a tree like a snake. A toy car rests on a piece of glass on top of a love seat. A recipe for a date and nut confection floats aimlessly in a puddle. And Briscoe echoes the sentiment of everyone else who has witnessed the chaos. She doesn't want to go through anything like this again. Chris Morrissey, TV 18 News.
Food volunteers for the late news on May 1st, 94.
Hello, Red Cross. This is Ed up at Mass Care.
Red Cross Mass Care Coordinator Ed Fruitnick makes sure everyone gets fed, from tornado victims cleaning up their belongings to volunteers and emergency workers. He estimates that he and more than 200 volunteers have prepared 3,000 meals in the home ec building since Wednesday. He's been to floods in the Midwest and earthquakes in California, but he says he's never seen anything like the flood of generosity in Tippecanoe County.
Everything has been furnished to us, from the grocery stores to the restaurants to bakeries. We just haven't had to buy things. They just made everything readily available for us.
This is Tornado for 5/9 early. You could almost hear a pin drop today at Sagamore Village Mobile Home Park. It's not because there's nothing to do. It's just that all the equipment has been plagued with flat tires.
We run into a lot of where there's been a lot of decks built on the front of the mobile homes and the big spike nails that punctured a lot of tires.
Butch Hunter says they have to repair punctured tires several times a day since the cleanup began.
It's every day, 2 or 3 times a day, nails and glass cuts and that kind of stuff.
He says the new tires on this backhoe will need to be replaced at least one more time before the afternoon is over. A Bobcat was the only one of 4 pieces of equipment in commission most of the day. Brian Hampton is operating that. He says to keep it in order, he puts plenty of oil on the pistons and keeps an eye on the tires.
It can get pretty frustrating at times, but it goes with the job.
Sherry Henney works with a sledgehammer instead of a backhoe or a Bobcat, but she has to deal with allergic reactions to fiberglass and insulation.
It just breaks me out. I get a little rash. No big deal. It'll go away tomorrow.
As if allergic reactions and punctured tires aren't enough, there are also fires that keep popping up all over the park. A few days ago, one started in this pile of debris right behind me, and there was a trailer here where I'm standing. Workers had to stop what they were doing, scramble over here, and move the trailer there. All this frustration can be maddening, and that's where the Salvation Army hopes it can help. Lieutenant Steve Merritt says within the week he will be knocking door to door and offering counseling.
If I could offer anything, maybe it's just a shoulder to cry on and just somebody to talk to, somebody who's willing just a listening ear.
For now, the workers will just keep pushing on and trying to get through the cleanup. Jane Kingseed, TV 18 News.